Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and I have another diamond in the rough for you guys today. He's the quarterback. His name is Evan Lewandowski. He's out of University of Wisconsin Whitewater. Sorry, that's a mouthful, but hey, we got him here. So, Evan, nice to have you. Obviously, they're at Whitewater, which is great school there in Division III. We have seen some guys come out of Whitewater recently, some that were drafted. So obviously, if you're good, they will find you. So go ahead and kick us off with your journey a bit. Tell us where you're from and walk us through some of it.
Yes, sir. First, thanks for having me on. Like you said, I appreciate you having everyone on to give a spotlight to all these guys that don't normally get it. So, for myself, I'm originally from Lake Zurich, Illinois. So grew up there, went to Lake Zurich High School. Ended up, breaking all their passing records there, and got myself in I felt like a good situation to perform at the college level. Got noticed by a few FCS schools, for some preferred walk-on opportunities. Decided to take the D3 route. So I ended up going to Wisconsin Lacrosse for my first 2 years. I served as the backup quarterback my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I really got it going. Ended up breaking a couple D3 records, all the school passing records there at Lacrosse. And then decided that, transferring, I felt like it was personally the best option for me. So I, looked at a bunch of schools. A lot of schools reached out. And similar to that high school, my senior year, I got those, walk-on opportunities from a lot of those FCS schools. They're just throwing those walk-ons, hoping that I'll come and, perform how I should. But to me, it didn't really show me that they're interested. I wanted that, that comfortable feeling going to a school where I'm wanted and knowing that they want me to get better every day. So I ended up transferring to UW Whitewater in conference, and yeah, took my journey from there. I ended up going as my junior year. I was back up again. The quarterback just didn't lose his job, so I just stuck to my process and got better every day. And this past season, I started as a senior, and yeah, did my thing.
Cool. Evan, anybody on you about like, transferring like in conference? Isn't that a little strange?
Yeah, definitely strange. I had some friends from my high school go to lacrosse with me. So leaving them, obviously was hard on me, hard on them, but I think they understood that I was doing it for myself and putting myself in the position I want to be in today.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look out for yourself at times. I mean, it's nice to be humble and all and help others, but I mean, in this business, you got to take care of it. You got to put yourself in position to maybe even provide for your family in the future. So, interesting. So, Lake Zurich, is that how you pronounce that?
Yep, correct.
So, Lake Zurich High School, you were there out of Illinois. Uh, I don't exactly know where that is. I mean, I'm not a geography guy.
Yep.
But obviously Illinois is what it is. I mean, sometimes you're out in the middle of nowhere. So, is that part of the reason why you think that you were under recruited?
I'm not really sure. I think that I didn't really get going into my senior year. So maybe those coaches want, you want that junior film,
Right,
sometimes a
right.
sophomore film, but I really got it going my senior year, and that's when those walk-on opportunities started happening. So I just think I was a little late to it, a little late to the party.
Well, it's all good. I mean, sometimes people hit the growth spurt late, or they just, they start on like odd years or something, and maybe like that's just kind of been your thing. So, but as you had mentioned, I mean, you went to UW Lacrosse, actually, first team all conference there at UW Lacrosse, which is really nice. Um, and obviously eventually got yourself there to Whitewater. I'm assuming somewhere along the way you got yourself an education. So what did you go ahead, what did you get that in?
So I at lacrosse I started off a different route. So I was originally going to do adaptive physical education. So work with the special needs children, and I decided when I transferred to Whitewater, not that wasn't my thing. Obviously, I love doing that, but I went into Parks and Rec, so Parks and Recreation, sport management, and stuff like that. That's where I'm going right now.
Interesting. So that first one there, what led you to do that? Like that's a bit different.
Yeah, so I wanted to stick with athletics. So I worked with Special Olympics when I was in lacrosse, and I was coaching basketball, tennis, soccer, and for me, it was really seeing those kids get better, and not only at the sport, but just love, being there to love their day. And yeah, I felt like I made a positive impact on their lives.
Cool. I mean, do you see yourself being a coach ultimately, or maybe a teacher of sorts? Or I mean, do you see that as a possibility maybe down the line?
I do, yeah, definitely a coach. I feel like I have those skills where I get those kids better at a fast rate. So yeah, definitely coaching or quarterback training at some point for sure.
Hey, you never know. Well, Evan, let's walk through this journey a little bit more. So, obviously a part of a couple different offenses, at least that I know of. How would you describe some of the differences between Lacrosse and Whitewater and kind of how they function as an offense?
Actually, very very similar. So the playbook that I had at Lacrosse was actually kind of transferred over to Whitewater. So we had some coaches that ended up, being at Whitewater when I got there. So it's a very similar playbook, no huddle, spread, and just kind of letting me, make the decisions up at the line. Like you said, you don't know like how many playbooks I've been part of. Actually, a fun fact, since my sophomore year of high school, I've had a new coach and a new offensive playbook every year. So I think
Mm.
that's like 6 years straight, seven straight new playbook. So I'm good at learning those, I guess.
Well, I would imagine so. I mean, but I could certainly see that that could be a challenging thing for somebody to just kind of get settled and be able to run an offense. But you have been successful in doing so. Let's just be frank. So, I mean, um, at Lacrosse, you did very well, and then of course you transferred to UW Whitewater, which Whitewater's been a great school, man. Let's just be real. I mean, over the past oh, I don't even know how many years, handful of years or whatever, they're always in the mix for national titles and such. I mean, but yeah, great school. Talk about those two schools if you don't mind, just kind of your perspective as a student.
Yeah, so when I went to lacrosse, it was a little different. I was coming in as a freshman, still learning that, the college life and all that stuff. So I had some great teammates from my high school that came there with me, so it kind of helped me along the way. And then the coaches at lacrosse, they brought me in and they let me do my thing at lacrosse. They weren't gonna say, "Hey, you guys be a strict pocket passer or do this." They let me stay with my scrambling ability, like I had in high school. So for me, that was kind of nice because I felt comfortable at that school. Moving to Whitewater, it was kind of all about the head coach, Kevin Bullis. So right when I got to Whitewater, it was our COVID year, so we weren't playing that season at all. So for me, it was getting better, getting used to the school a little bit, which was great because I was transferring to a new school. But Kevin Bullis, kind of changed my life in a way. So he brought in my mind, he taught me how to like have a daily process and get 1% better every day. And that's something that I take with me, to this day. So shout out to him because he did change my life.
Cool. So, let's look at you as a prospect. I mean, obviously a quarterback. So, when you look at yourself as a quarterback, what are some of your strengths? I mean, give me some sense as to how we can separate you from all the rest of the guys out there.
Yeah, so I can get the ball out of my hands really quickly. I have a very quick release. When I'm whether that decision making in my head is on time or a little late, I'm still getting the ball out on time to my receiver. Another thing for me is when I have to scramble, I'm keeping my eyes downfield first. So, if that receiver's open downfield, I'm finding him the ball because I know that, we're gonna get those yards over me running. But at the same time, over this past season, I really got that running game going and brought that skill, that asset to myself. So I feel like my run game is getting there too.
So, I was reading the profile that Whitewater has on you, and the one thing that they had listed is that you grew up a Bears fan.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here thinking, who at the next level is this guy, I guess, aspiring to be? Because I don't know, man. Bears situation has been a little different. But who at the next level do you aspire to be? Maybe somebody whose film you watch in order to better yourself.
Yeah. So I got two guys that I like to look at. First, Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong with looking at his game. Especially at the scrambling ability. Like I said, he keeps his eyes downfield. He's looking for those receivers the whole time. A guy that I've been interested in since high school is Josh Allen. I've been watching him since he was at Wyoming, and we actually have very similar forms, throwing forms. So his mechanics at Wyoming. He got that head tilt a little bit, and he wasn't like maintaining his eye level, and he fixed that when he got to the pros. And I felt like when I got to Whitewater, I was doing that same thing, and I eventually fixed my eye level, and using my 6'3.5", 6'4" frame to throw the ball instead of getting down. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously did measure you, even though you're listed at 6'4", maybe not quite,
Yeah, my pro day, that was
but still a
yeah.
big guy.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
still a big guy. And you're looking at these two guys at the next level with similar traits. And what really I think of when I think of those two guys is that they have a rocket arm. Really, no joke. Like I was just watching a clip of Mahomes like throw like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball or something crazy like that. I mean, it's legit, man. But both of those guys, freakish athletes, and they're able to get it done at the next level. Let's kind of continue to walk through things a little bit there. So, I mean, again, you're at Whitewater, and there have been some guys come out of the D3 there. Let's be real. I mean, even though it's Division 3, I think you guys get a bad rap. There is some talent there at that level. Uh, for people who don't know, give us some sense of that. There at Whitewater, who are you surrounded by there that you feel people need to know?
Yeah, talk about players, former players. So
Or
Quinn,
current. Let's get to current
yeah.
play.
Well, current players. So one of my guys, one of my receivers is Tyler Holte. He's the same class as me. He's looking to play at the next level, and he really brought me into Whitewater. So shout out to him because he helped me get there and be his quarterback in a way.
Cool.
And then other guys from when I was a junior at Whitewater, Ryan Wisniewski, Max Myler. They're all in indoor league right now. So they're still going, and yeah, they were great leaders for me.
I remember talking to Wisniewski, man. I mean, he was a freakish athlete. I mean, able to do a lot of things. I mean, and then of course I talked to this guy, Mr. Quinn Miners, who I feel put Whitewater on the map, man. I mean, when a guy like him gets drafted in the NFL, and not like a seventh round guy. No, 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 no. He was a few rounds before that, man. I mean, people were on him early, and he got his opportunity. So yeah, like I had said, from the start, if you're good, the league's gonna find you, man.
Yeah.
So, uh, when we look at your career, I want to talk about a couple different moments for you. So, first one I want to talk about is your first start. How did that first start for you look? Again, at Lacrosse, like how did that look? I mean, you step on the field, like describe that day for us.
I would say, being honest with you, I'll say not comfortable. It's my first start. I'm 19 years old going into the game. I think that it was a good learning curve for me, getting those first few plays out the way. And I think it took me about 3 games to get going, really. I ended up switching off with the guy for the first 3 games. He injured himself, unfortunately, and put me in the starting spot. So kind of got me going a little bit, though. I'm that guy, so I needed to step up for my team. After the first 3 games, I really got it going. I ended up throwing 5 touchdowns in the fourth game, 9 in the fifth game. So yeah, that helped me get going a lot.
So you got the butterflies out of the way, and then once those were out of the way, then you were rolling.
Yep.
So, and then how about another instance for you? I mean, I know you've been a part of a lot of great games. When you think about maybe your most memorable moment, most memorable highlight, even a play, is there one of those that maybe you could share?
Yeah, so like I just mentioned, I threw 9 touchdowns versus UW River Falls. I think I had 591 yards that game. So obviously that's one, my highest accolade. But most memorable, I kind of like look at the practices more. Or even at Whitewater, even though we lost that last game, that's kind of my most memorable moment is because I'm finishing it off with those guys. And yeah, it's a brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this game is truly about like that brotherhood, the day in and day out, gritty struggle about getting about preparing for the game, and then of course celebrating with one another afterwards. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Um Evan, give me some sense as to maybe how you feel you have grown the most over your time in college. I mean, versus you coming in as a freshman, and now as a guy who's looking to get his opportunity in the pros.
Mhm. Well, like I mentioned before, I really live off of getting 1% better every day. Finding out, picking out a little detail in my life that I want to get better at, because we all know we're not going to be perfect that next day. So I think that's really helped me in my life and on the football field. Is sticking to that same process. On the field, it's from play to play or from rep to rep in practice. Taking a deep breath, having that same process every time, so that I know kind of get a feeling of that outcome. I know what's going to happen in a way instead of when it's going to go wrong. So
Okay. Um, so Evan, after everything is all done with you collegiately, you actually got an opportunity to do a pro day. And not just any pro day, you had a chance to walk on to a D1 facility, and participate there at Northwestern's pro day. How did that day go for you overall? Can you give me maybe some highlights of that day?
yeah, well, obviously it was a great opportunity. I good friends with Donnie Navarro, a receiver at Northwestern. So I've been training with him, and he kind of got me in there a little bit. And then, but before that, the Bear Scouts, were reaching out to me, so they kind of knew about me before that. So I ended up doing all the drills at Northwestern and throwing to about four receivers. It was a really good day. I was happy with my numbers, and then I threw well too. But I also had a chance to do two other pro days that you probably didn't even know about. So I did our conference pro day at Whitewater, which I ended up throwing like 95 passes. We had four receivers and a tight end. So outside in the cold, I ended up throwing a bunch of balls, and I felt like that was good to put that on film though. And then most recent one last week, I was at the Bears local pro day. So I got an invite to
Cool.
that, and I ended up running my fastest 40 there. And we just did the 40, and then I threw well at that too.
Yeah, don't want to necessarily see you throw 95 passes
No,
regularly. That's a bit much.
yep,
Sorry, just my opinion.
it is.
You
Yep.
got to have that pitch count,
Oh yeah.
and got to cut guys off after a while. But if you're the only guy doing it, man, I mean, you're just,
Mhm.
you got to do it. If someone
Yeah.
asks you to do it, you got to do it. Well, cool. I mean, you got an opportunity really to showcase yourself on a few different stages. And I think all of those are putting you in this situation where, dude, you may get an opportunity at the next level. You might actually, I mean, I know you grew up a Bears fan. You might be able to play there in Chicago. Has that really, I don't know, have you been able to wrap your mind around that as a possibility that could actually happen?
Yeah, well, when I got that invite to the local pro day, something clicked in a way. And then getting the tour of the facilities, growing up being a Bears fan, I never toured those facilities. So getting to see their locker room and everything, kind of brought a little fire to me. I'm not that I'm working harder, but continue to do the same thing that I've been doing, and have even thinking about playing for the Bears is that would be the greatest opportunity ever.
I mean, as a fan, I mean, you grow up a fan of a particular team, and if you're able to walk through the locker room, able to see some of the things up on the walls, the trophies and such, I mean, definitely an excellent feeling. And hopefully you do get that opportunity. Um, Evan, what else do you feel people need to know about you other than the fact that you're a football player? Is there anything else about you, whether it be your hobbies or any other interests that you feel people need to know?
First, I love my family. They're always gonna come first to me. Probably a lot of people say that, but they're always first on my mind. Whatever I got doing, they're my first thought. Another thing for me, you probably noticed I've been smiling this whole time. I like spreading positivity. So, negativity, I feel like that's gonna get you nowhere. So, when other guys are around you, my positivity becomes contagious around every environment that I'm in.
Cool. How about a little deeper? I want a little bit something more out of you. So, what do you do when you're just hanging out with your family? I mean, is there like a, I don't know, like a favorite pastime or something that you like doing? I mean, talk to me a little bit about that.
Right now we're my family's a little older. I have two older brothers, so we're growing up, so doing different things, playing golf, other sports. We're an athletic family, so it's always kind of sports first. Another thing I like being outdoors. So family there. I remember some past memories that you brought up, just going to like the zoo with my family or going to Six Flags, anything like that. Anything with a good time.
Okay, okay. And then a guy again from Lake Zurich, there in Illinois. Talk to me about your hometown, man. Is there what makes your hometown special? Is there maybe a hot spot there that people need to know?
Ooh, good question. There's got a small downtown, but there's a place called Coffee Cup down there. It's a good breakfast spot. I would say that's the main spot. But one thing about our town is we're kind of brought together by football. Um, everyone gets together on Friday night. You can hear the stadium from throughout the whole town, the screams and everything. So I kind of like that, even though I know that I'm just saying that because I play football, but everyone comes together and it's always a great time Friday night at Lake Sur.
Well, Evan, do want to wrap up our time. It's been fun getting to know you, and obviously, as you had mentioned, I mean, it's nice to meet a guy with some positivity, who can bring that to a team. I mean, a guy who can compete. I mean, and you've been doing so on several different stages. So, go ahead and close things out by talking to all these scouts out there and telling them what kind of an addition that you would make to their franchise. So, close us with your pitch.
Like you just mentioned, I'm going to go out and compete every single day, no matter what spot I'm in. I've been in those backup positions. I started off, my freshman year at Lacrosse in the third spot. I'm going to compete and keep getting 1% better every single day, no matter where I'm at. And, no matter what the temperature's outside, no matter how I'm feeling that day, I'm going out and competing, not only to make the guys better ahead of me, but I'll make the team better overall.
Cool. Well, all these scouts, they have to check out this tall drink of water here named Evan Lewandowski. He's a quarterback out of UW Whitewater. Thanks for the interview.
Sir, thank you.